When actor Gil Gerard was cast in the 1979 TV series Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, the star likely thought he would have quite the career ahead of him. While Gil is still fondly remembered for his time on that short-lived cult classic series, his role on it sadly didn't yield a very impressive career afterwards. Instead, Gil spent his days after Buck Rogers in the 25th Century struggling to free himself from various addictions, including issues with excessive eating and substance abuse. Join Factsverse as we explore how playing the character of Buck Rogers ended Gil Gerard's career for good. Gil Gerard was born in Little Rock, Arkansas on January 23, 1943. His mother was an instructor at a local college, and his father was a salesman. Starting in 1960, Gil began attending a school called Mary Knowles Seminary, located in Illinois. While there, he began acting, portraying the title character in a production of The Music Man. Gil attended college at University of Central Arkansas, but before graduating, he decided he wanted to drop out in hopes of becoming an actor. He headed to New York City. He paid his bills by driving a taxi during night hours, and he dedicated his time to studying his craft. One day, while Gil was picking up and dropping off fares in his taxi, he picked up a man who expressed some interest when Gil shared he was an aspiring actor. Seeing potential in the young man, the fare told Gil he was part of the production team filming Love Story, which was being shot on location nearby. He told Gil if he showed up to the film set, he would give him a role as an extra. Gil made sure to show up and accept the chance. When he arrived on set, which was filming on location in New York City, he was initially cast as an extra, but over the course of the day, he was singled out by another member of production. This led to him being promoted from an extra on the film to a bit player, though his role was inevitably cut out of the finished project. Still, the event gave Gil crucial experience, and he went on to slowly rise through the ranks until eventually taking the role of Buck Rogers in 1979. After Gil's experience on Love Story, he continued seeking out acting roles. The most prominent roles he was getting at the time were in commercials. He starred in around 400 commercials, with one of his most notable as a spokesperson for the Ford Motor Company. But he had his heart set on dramatic acting and took roles in commercials to get his foot in the door. In 1971, Gil got a small film role in a production called Some of My Best Friends Are. Several years later, he could be seen performing an equally small role in the 1974 thriller Man on a Swing. He caught a little bit of a break when he was cast in a prominent role on a daytime soap called The Doctors. He was on that soap for 2 years, but he eventually decided this role wasn't meeting his ambitions. After his role on The Doctors ended, Gil decided it was time to take his fame into his own hands and stop leaving it up to the will of other producers. Teaming up with a friend, he started his own production company and filmed a starring vehicle for himself called Hooch. Hooch was released in 1977. After that, he took on a variety of different projects before becoming Buck Rogers in '79. He appeared in the 1977 films Ransom for Alice and Airport 77, and also made guest appearances on the hit shows Hawaii Five-0 and Little House on the Prairie. While on that show, he caught the attention of the show's star and producer, Michael Landon. Michael subsequently got Gil his first leading role, which came via a made-for-television motion picture, Killing Stone. After finishing Killing Stone, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century was just around the corner. Sadly, his role in the seminal science fiction series ended up signaling the end of his career, despite the show being a cult hit. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse for more. And stick around for more about Gil Gerard and Buck Rogers. When Gil Gerard was cast in the title role on the TV series Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, he likely felt he'd gotten his big break. In many respects, the show did end up being his big break, though a variety of problems he experienced after his time on the series essentially halted his career for good. Buck Rogers ran from 1979 to 1981 and was preceded by a feature-length pilot released in theaters as a standalone film. Because of this, Gil can technically be said to have starred as the lead in a hit theatrical motion picture. After Buck Rogers in the 25th Century ended, his career didn't come to a halt immediately. There were a period of a few years where he slowly succumbed to various addictions, including to both food and drugs. He also was experiencing domestic problems around that time that distracted him from his career. Still, Gil appeared in a few notable roles after playing Buck Rogers, including parts on the short-lived series Sidekicks and Earth Force. In 1982, he got another lead role in a made-for-TV film, Hear No Evil. By the time the 80s were over, Gil had already gone through 4 different failed marriages. Not much is known about his first 2 wives. His first wife is said to have been a secretary Gil met in his home state of Arkansas, and their marriage lasted only 8 months. After heading to New York City, he met and married his second wife while attempting to become an actor. She was a bank executive, and the two were married for around 7 years. After divorcing his second wife, Gil headed to California and met and married a model actress named Connie Sellecca. The two tied the knot in 1979, the same year Buck Rogers in the 25th Century premiered. Gil and Connie had a child born in 1981. The child was named Gilbert after his father. Sadly, the introduction of Gilbert to Gil and Connie's lives didn't make their marriage any easier, and his third marriage ended up lasting as long as his second. After being together for 7 years, Gil and Connie divorced in 1987. The mid-'80s represented an incredibly dark time for Gil. Not only was he not making progress in his career, but he also slowly began succumbing to his various addictions. Gil and Connie's separation was not amicable, and it resulted in a tumultuous custody dispute that saw Connie gain custody of their son. Seeking escape from his current situation, Gil plunged into a fourth marriage the same year, this time marrying an interior designer named Bobby Leonard. The marriage proved Gil's second least successful, and Gil and Bobby divorced in 1989, coinciding with the former star hitting rock bottom and weighing 300 pounds. Throughout the 80s, Gil had begun consuming massive amounts of alcohol and junk food, leading to his immense weight gain. He had attempted to escape into these indulgences as a means of dealing with the pain of his failed career, but he realized eventually he was only making things worse. Following his fourth divorce, he decided to get his life back under control. He began losing weight and was back to a far more appropriate weight of 220 by 1990. He was also allowed a bit more work in the industry. In 1992, he hosted a reality series named Code 3 that documented the real-life exploits of various teams of firefighters attempting to control fires. The show lasted a year, but it gave Gil a chance to feel like he was getting back into the swing of things. He went on to appear in a variety of other TV series over the course of the decade. In recent years, Gil has done his best to keep himself healthy, though he still suffers from health problems related to his consumptions, including type 2 diabetes. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know Buck Rogers in the 25th Century's Gil Gerard weighed 300 pounds? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.